Hello, Crest families. We hope that you're getting some time this summer to relax and connect as a family. We've been busy preparing for our program for the new school year. To be clear, while we've spent a lot of time talking to this point about what a safe return to campus will look like for our students, we have also been equally working hard at creating a parallel program and what distance learning will look like for our students. We know that the uncertainty of the time we're living in means that at any moment we may need to shift to distance learning. We also recognize that for some families, particularly those with medical concerns, distance learning may feel like the only option for this school year. We want to know that we are committed to making sure that your choice is about the place in which your child will be learning and not the program. So we wanted to talk a little bit about distance learning. As you may remember, in the spring, we had to make a very quick pivot. What we did, to be clear, was not distance learning. It was emergency remote teaching. We had less than 48 hours to pack up our classrooms and transition what had been planned to be an on-campus, in-the-classroom program and bring it online. While all of our students, teachers, and parents did an amazing job stepping up to this monumental task, we also recognize that with the gift of these past few months to reflect upon feedback from teachers, from students, from you as parents, we have the opportunity to truly start distance learning next year with a planned, organized approach to what that will look like. So, some things we learned. First of all, one of the key lessons we learned is centralized communication is key. We plan to use Google Sites this year to create classroom websites that will be a simple, easy way to log in and get all the information you need for your child's learning. The homepage of these classroom websites will have all the key information you need, announcements, dates, important updates. We will also have subject-specific pages that provide all the resources, links to homework assignments, and learning that you need. Students in grades 3rd through 8th will be utilizing Google Classroom to submit assignments in a simple, fluid way. So we've really worked on creating a simple structure that will be used whether we're in the classroom or at home. This way, if and when we need to make that shift, it will be very comfortable for students. We also learned that it's important to train everyone on these platforms. This summer, teachers will be upskilling themselves on the Google Suite. They'll be taking time to train. We've actually provided a stipend to bring teachers back early to provide adequate time for them to work at their own pace in the summer. I'm really pleased to be able to offer this. We're also partnering with Global Online Academy to be able to offer some professional development to teachers on how to create meaningful relationships when working with students in distance learning and learn the top pedagogy for how we teach online. In addition to that, we know that you're still wondering about making this choice of program. What I want to assure you is that the choice that you're about to make is not about program, but about place. We know that you chose to come to Crest because you value the program we deliver, and we are committed to delivering the same high-quality social-emotional learning, academic experience, and personalized attention whether your child is at school or working from home. So what does that mean in terms of structure? Well, first of all, in terms of students from 4th through 8th grade, it's going to shift developmentally with the needs of the students. So in 4th through 8th grade, we really want to work on building student independence and agency. We know that our learners at that level are able to work a lot more independently, and that if we give them the right training, tools, and structure at the beginning of the year, we can set them up for success. So if your child is working at home in the distance learning program, they will have a very predictable schedule that runs very closely parallel to what's happening in the regular school day classroom. They will have the chance to stream in and watch lessons live, to be able to use the chat feature to ask questions, participate in small group differentiated instruction using Google Meet, and we will also be able to have individual time to check in as a help desk with teachers. Now, we know some classes won't lend themselves as easily to having students video conference in. So for classes like PE, we will have a separate offering that will be a class taught just for students who are working from home. So that way the teachers can structure activities and still have active daily learning, but be able to do it with the resources and structure that they can do at home. We will be sending home supplies as well as devices to support student learning at home. We're really excited. We think that this routine and structure will help to create a very seamless transition as students both work from home and work at school. We know, and you should be prepared for, we will be a lot more cautious this year about sending children to school if they're showing symptoms. So even if you choose to come to school, you can anticipate that at some point across the year, colds will happen, just as they always do. Also, we might need to, if your family is exposed to COVID, there may be a need to work from home. So at those times, we need to make sure that that program is as seamless a transition as possible for our students. They'll already be familiar with their teachers. There's another option that we're offering in our survey that gives you the option to commit to just the first trimester distance learning. So we also knew we wanted to set those students up for success so that if they're returning to the classroom in the second trimester, they're familiar with the routines and the teachers. Now, you may be wondering, if you have a student in JK through third, what does distance looking like for my child? We know that in those grades, those primary grades, distance learning is heavily reliant on partnership with parents. Children aren't quite yet ready to totally navigate with independence and keep track of what time classes are and when to log in. We are committed to partnering with parents to really individualize and personalize the experience so that we can sync up your child's learning with parents' schedules. So we will work together to work out the best systems and routines. What the children will be learning and the experience that we'll be having will be the same as what children are having here at school. So the learning opportunities, the content they'll be covering will be the same, albeit we'll need to do it in a different way that embraces a lot more small group instruction. If one thing we learned this spring, when I did read-alouds with children and meetups via Zoom, we found that when younger students were in groups of 4 or one-on-one, they were very comfortable talking and collaborating. But that for some students, when they were in whole groups, it was a bit intimidating and overwhelming. So we really want to make sure we're taking what we learned about that experience to be able to customize the program for our youngest learners. We are also committed, if you are a parent of one of our younger students, to bringing our young students on campus and offering an on-campus option as much as we possibly can this year, because we all know as educators and as parents that distance learning is more challenging for those age groups. So what that means is that even if we find ourselves moving on to the watch list of California, we are already committed to exploring applying for a waiver. I'm very confident in all of the research and in the professional expertise that we've received in bringing a safe return to campus as possible. So we know we can create a great on-campus experience for those students, and we know from following the science that the transmission rates amongst these age groups is much, much lower. I encourage you, if you have more questions about that, if you didn't get a chance to log into the Health and Wellness panel last night, to watch that. I know you may have further questions especially that are specific to you or your family and your child. And I encourage you to reach out to me with those questions. Many of the things that will be happening will be very synchronous with what's happening at school. We are also committed to continuing with supplemental programs that will help differentiate instruction, such as Lexia Core for literacy. And we are piloting a new MAP Accelerator program that works with our MAP growth testing for students in 3rd through 8th grade. That means that MAP testing will also be able to be administered remotely. So if you have a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader, you are used to having MAP testing, we will still be able to progress monitor and get those snapshots of their learning in progress, whether they're working at school or working at home. I'm going to turn it over to Holly Weaver, our middle school director, to elaborate a little more about our middle school program. But if you are one of those families that has further questions, we encourage you to reach out. We are happy to talk with you and answer any personal questions you have.
Thank you, Michelle. As Michelle said, distance learning and on-campus learning are really going to parallel each other. When we've been looking at the schedule for distance, well, the schedule in middle school, one of the things I have been talking to families about, that whether you are on campus or online, we are going to keep those schedules similar throughout the year. The reason behind that is that things are so chaotic that are happening around us. If we can keep that consistency so the kids know what subjects are coming each day and where it is, that's really going to help alleviate that. As Michelle said, in terms of being put on a watch list and waivers, we know that middle schools actually get the disease at a very different rate from the younger kids. So the high likely is that we will all be in distance learning at some stage. We will probably start the year like that. Now, we've done a great practice. We were pivoted really well, and now we're going to take all that feedback that you gave us in regards to distance learning and actually ensure the strongest possible program we can. So things like having a single platform for the kids to navigate, as well as spending a lot of time in those first couple of weeks really upskilling kids as to where to get the information, how do they communicate with their teachers, how do they submit that. That is going to be a really big focus for us, especially for the 6th graders who have not experienced this program. And we're going to be really thinking about how do they meet and get to know their teachers. As well, that schedule in terms of, looking at it, and as we keep planning, as we keep looking about the best program we can, we really want to have that synchronous experience. So if you are at distance learning, you're still having the same great content and teacher delivery if you're on campus. And as I said, we know we're going to move in and out of that. What is wonderful now is things like wildfires or smoky days are not going to affect us because we're going to instantly be able to go back into that distance learning model. So more time for learning. Everyone is going to experience distance learning. We have a 4-day on-campus model if that's what, miraculous we can do, and then everyone is going to do a distance learning day on a Friday. What I love about that is that I'm really looking to maximise some great ideas in terms of best middle school practice. Time really looking at the social emotional piece, infinity groups, so that kids can actually be passionate about something and do those activities, as well as ensuring that we have a weekly middle school assembly so that we can continue to build community throughout the 6th, 7th and 8th grade, because that is so beautiful about our middle school, is that everyone from those grades really connects. The other thing is, and what I love about our school is our agility. We know that we are going to be continuously as faculty looking at our program and navigating that and changing it to meet the needs of all of our learners. So we want to reassure you that what we are planning to do is constantly look at the feedback, constantly look at what we're doing and actually keep tweaking it to have the best model possible. Also, all school We've really invested to ensure that everyone from JK up to K is going to have a one-to-one device, so that as we do pivot and shift, that we can actually ensure that all of our learners are actually really gathering and getting the best tools they possibly can, the best experience. I'm excited for this year. It is not ever what I ever dreamed about, but then that is the magic of teaching, that no 2 days are the same, no 2 years are the same at this point in time. As Michelle said, if you have some specific questions about your child, please reach out to us. We are still looking for, even though middle schoolers may not be able to come on, if we go to that watch program, that we actually look at ensuring that all of our learners are actually getting the education they need. So please reach out if you've got any questions. We look forward to seeing you in several weeks' time, and we look forward to working with your children, as we always do. Thank you.